Hey guys, somewhat nervous yet somewhat excited Worm here, and I wanted to talk about something that I didn't think about in yesterday's video, which was the strike playlist. Now we know that strikes are getting a major turnaround, I guess you could say, next season, and they're doing essentially what they have done to all the other core playlists in the game. However, this did make me a little bit nervous, optimistic but nervous about what's going to happen with the actual strike playlist. When we take a step back and we look at the three core playlists, we've got Crucible, we've got Gambit, and we've got Strikes. Now, Strikes, of course, are the last of the playlist to get the update where you can buy certain stuff from the vendor and whatnot. And I started thinking about it, and Gambit's, I mean, we could talk about Gambit all day, but Bungie's kind of all but forgotten about Gambit. So we're gonna skip over Gambit, but keep this in mind. I want you to keep Gambit in mind when we're talking about this too. But the Crucible, of course, you can focus weapons, armor, stuff like that, which is really great. But what makes the Crucible different from the Strike playlist? And to me, that is the actual fun factor of it. Now, Strikes, don't get me wrong, they're fun to, at the end of a night, you're about to get off, go do 3 or 4 strikes just to relax, call it a day. But strikes are not something that I think players want to spend hours and hours in. Nightfalls maybe, but Nightfalls and strikes are a little bit different. I'm talking about specifically the Vanguard Ops playlist here. And so I wanted to talk about the Vanguard Ops playlist and my concerns for it, as well as hopefully what Bungie can do for the playlist. Now, when we think about strikes, I think most of us think about doing, our 3 weekly strikes just to get them done, to get a pinnacle. Maybe, like I said, maybe at the end of the night hopping on and doing strikes. But overall, strikes are incredibly easy and they are incredibly boring after some time. I know, boring, right, in Destiny. And I think that this needs to change. Like, if Bungie wants us to do all this focusing stuff like this. Sorry, I'm pointing at my other monitor here, but do all this focusing, with all the new weapons and armor and stuff like that. They need to give us a better reason to play strikes. We've had the same, I don't know how many strikes. We have the same strikes for many years now. Okay, I think the last new strike that we got, I really can't recall which one it was, but we don't get new strikes very often, and we rotate strikes in and out. So there are strikes that existed in Destiny 2's early days that do not exist anymore. So that is already number one. I think that needs to change. I think Bungie should carefully, albeit, bring back old strikes. I mean, you think about it. We have a Gambit map that takes place on Titan. We have Crucible maps that take place on Titan. I don't see the harm in bringing back an old strike that took place on Titan. I think that adding all the strikes that have previously been in Destiny 2 into the mix would help liven up the playlist. However, that's not it. That is not the only thing that can happen, because like I said, it's not so much the tediousness of the strikes themselves, it's the lack of excitement and entertaining that comes with strikes. Now, we also have the battlegrounds. We got 3 or 4, I think it's 3 different battlegrounds that will take place in the Vanguard Ops playlist as well. And the battlegrounds are a lot of fun. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, the battlegrounds are weak, blah, blah, blah. Battlegrounds are a lot better, in my opinion, than most strikes. So I think it's good that we have them. But again, we've had them for almost a year now. They have gotten stale. The strikes have gotten stale, and I know a lot of people say, oh, well, what about Crucible? Like, it's the same Crucible maps. Yes. The primary difference between the Crucible, though, and these strikes is that the Crucible, you're playing against different players. So every single game, you're running into a new batch of players who have fundamentally different play styles, who use wildly different weapons and armors. You got people that are, go and try hard. You've got people who are memeing around. You got people who are just practicing out new builds. Like, hey, I want to try out, X gun or X exotic in here. And it creates a mix of excitement every single game in the Crucible. But you get in strikes, and in the background you're seeing the Nightfall from this week. It's the same thing. You go, you run a little bit, you kill a bunch of enemies, you pick up something, take it somewhere. There's not a lot of what's the word here? Not a lot of change that happens within the strike playlist. So I think that Bungie needs to revamp the strike playlist. Now, number one, I think one of the most important things that they can do, okay, is make strikes by and large a little bit more difficult. Now, this I don't want anybody to take this out of whatever the word is, and say, oh, like you just want to make strikes like nightfalls. No, no, no. But I do say that making strikes more difficult would make them potentially more entertaining. Make them where, you can't just blaze through a strike like that. We've all gotten in a strike, we're going to have a new loadout, we're ready to try out and stuff like that. And we got two teammates that blaze through, they skip all the enemies, they skip everything that they can. And I think that Bungie should ultimately force players to not do that. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, wait, why? But like, that's, that gives us less chance at loot, blah, blah, blah. But again, the loot's changing. We are now going to be able to focus the loot. Okay. So I think that making strikes longer is okay. It's an okay thing. And if not, you will be okay. Okay. Everybody will be okay. Because here's the thing, I've done it too. I've blazed through a strike in, 7 minutes, skip every enemy that I can skip, kill everything that needs to be killed as fast as possible, and then melt the boss. I've done it. Okay. Most of us have done it, but I think that it needs to change for the sake of the strike playlist. Not only that, but we need to see some more stuff in there. They say Vanguard Ops, and you're thinking, oh, like operatives, like, ooh, like what are we gonna do? No, you got strikes and battlegrounds. You only got 3 battlegrounds too. So I think that Bungie should add in some old seasonal content to the mix here. Maybe bring back something like Sundial. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Okay, I'm not a professional or anything like that. But Bungie should add old content to the strike playlist to make it more fleshed out as an ops playlist. Like, oh, I'm doing a strike. Oh, but now I'm doing a battleground. Oh, now I'm doing, Sundial or something like that. I don't know why I keep saying Sundial. I've just been thinking about that a lot today or something like that. But strikes, they need a revamp. They need to be reworked in a way that will allow players to have more fun and make them more interesting. Okay. I say, one of the big things in strike playlists, light level doesn't particularly matter. Yes, I know somebody's gonna say, oh, well, if you're 1350, you can't do it. Obviously that's the case. But once you're at 1500 power, I don't think it's much of an issue. I think what they should do is they should kind of level out everybody's level. Hey, even if you're 1350, you're going to be set at, 1600 power in here. However, all the enemies are just a slight power level above, maybe 10 levels above you. That way it's a little bit more difficult. Okay, more difficult, and it requires more planned out thought. I think there should be more darkness zones, more places where if all 3 of you die, you got to start the encounter over. Look at, battlegrounds, for example. Most of the battlegrounds, actually, in fact, all of the battlegrounds, all of the entire duration of the battlegrounds activity, if you have all 3 people wipe, nothing happens. The enemies just walk around while you respawn. I say change that. Okay, change it so that, oh, we wiped, crap, now we got to start over. Something like that. Just something to beef up the strikes. Or strike and ops playlist, I should say. But anyways, that's my TED talk here. I am hopeful for Vanguard strikes. The Vanguard Ops coming up next season because they're making all these changes. I'm hoping that we will see something else added into the mix for us. But I don't know. We'll just have to see. But with that being said, take care. Good luck next season, grinding out all your stuff, and come check us out on stream. Yeah, bye for now.